The official beginning time of the journey to Detroit, which is 6 o'clock. And we just wanted to essentially bid everyone farewell and have some parting advice from some of the elders and imams. And Imam Khalil represents them. Some of them have gone home to get ready for ready for this dinner. So inshallah we'll ask Imam Khalil to give you all some words. Some of the brothers you met over the weekend, they'll be returning late tomorrow evening or the following morning. Fadl Sheikh Imam, there's a chair for you too. So parting advice inshallah ta'ala.
Assalamu alaikum. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. First of all, I would like to thank the brothers who organized and put on this event. Propagation of knowledge is one of the things that our illustrious prophet talked about, being at the top of the list, being the foremost point of our deen. I was privy to listen to some of the Sheikh talk about some of these topics, and I was very much enlightened, very much appreciative. In particular, the session that talked about dhikr, remembering Allah. And as I listened, Allah does things to me, alhamdulillah. As I listened, things begin to expand. It's like looking at a sunrise and then all of a sudden you see another sun rising. It's beautiful. The dhikr, the thing about dhikr, the dhikr has many forms. We said it, we said words. The dhikr has many forms. It has a spiritual form which occurs in the heart, and it has the physical form when we come in and we make prayer, zakat, everything we do is the dhikr. And it occurred to me, remembering Allah is not only comprehensive, it should always be. Sometimes when I wake up, I thank Allah, that's a remembrance. I see the sun shine. I know that He created the sun, and I remember and I thank Him. The birds that fly. Anytime you see one of the ayatullah, signs of Allah, these are a cause for remembrance. And I always offer that if we could be in a state of remembrance all the time, a state of remembrance all the time, not necessarily something formal instruction, but something informal and organic as we were talking about. My dear brother, illustrious brother, was talking about the nefs, and many of you know that's one of my targets, jihad nefs. He talked about the nefs. And when I heard you talk about how powerful this creation of Allah, and the nefs is a creation of Allah. It's very powerful. I always share the hadith. I don't know if you shared the hadith about the creation of the nefs, and Allah asked, who am I and who are you? And He said, whoever you are, I am too. I'm bad like you. And He penalized the nefs. He put him in a burning hellfire for 1,000 years. Took him out, asked him the same question. Now, that would have been enough for me. I would have submitted, yeah. But it didn't. It said the same thing. And He put him back into a freezing hell. Took him out and asked him the same question. He said the same thing. Then He took away his food and water for 1,000 years. And then He asked him. And then that said, well, you are my creator and I am your creation. He submitted. It's one of the reasons that we say fasting subdues the nefs. So much knowledge was disseminated here. It was almost, it would be very difficult to take it all home and use it. But whatever you garnered, whatever touched you, use it. Practice it. Because we know that Iman has two arms. It has an internal arm and external arm. Not only do we believe in our hearts, but we show it by our actions and our deeds. And I would just hope that, for the sake of this knowledge, that we would use it in the smallest of ways. It doesn't have to be real big, broad, the smallest of ways. Take it home, share it with your loved ones. Share it with your loved ones. It not only reinforces it, but it propagates it, heals it. This is what sometimes Islam is about. Going to others, giving this beautiful deen, this wonderful way of life to others, those who do not have it. I'm one of those, I'm like Sheikh, I like to prepare, I like to get a couple hours to, this impromptu stuff is, alhamdulillah, but I'm really nervous and realize that everything that these brothers have done, what you have done. Thank you, and I thank Allah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. First, I want to say this, that it's really an honor to be here and to be around sincere people. I mean, for him to even just sit here and say he was nervous and these kind of things, it just shows a vulnerability that most people wouldn't show. And it shows that there's a sincerity, and it's that sincerity that he shows has been I guess, a foundational piece that I've seen in this masjid and from the people of this masjid and the people within this community. So it's really a blessing to be here. You know, yesterday I was talking to Imam Dawood, and we were talking about our experiences when we first went to Africa, because he wanted to Senegal, Mali, I went to Kenya. And I was telling him, I said, you know, when I got there, I told myself, I'm not going to do no crying, I ain't going to be talking about I made it back home, I'm not going to do all of that mess. I'm just there, you know what I mean? I'm going to, you know, enjoy the things that this place has to offer. And as soon as I got it there and they gave me the mic to say a few words to the people, I looked around and said, I'm being home! Started crying and all that stuff. Well, I say it to say because I feel like I'm home here. And everyone has, you've given me more than I deserve in terms of Kirama, in terms of your generosity, and in terms of your respect. And I really do appreciate that. And I think a lot of that is because it's an extension of my good friend and my teacher, Sheikh Abdul-Karim. And so I thank Allah for that, and I thank Allah for the fact that He allowed me to be within His company when we studied, and that Allah blessed me to be able to go to the places I've gone and be able to have experienced what I experienced. Otherwise, you and I would not be here today together. So I am very appreciative to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that, you know, first and foremost. And I know we have to make these things brief, so I'm sorry. One thing I'm going to say is this. You know, our teacher used to say, when we used to study, he said, لا تدرسوا لاختبار ادرسوا على اختيار. That do not study for the test. You study because you were chosen. And I say that to say because for whatever reason, as we heard the brother say after Salatul Dhuhr, that for whatever reason, Allah has chosen you to be here. And Allah has chosen you all to receive whatever you received, whether it was a lot or whether it was a little. Whatever you received is what Allah had for you. And there's something there that we have to pay close attention to. Why did Allah want me to get, even whatever it is you got, why did you get it? And better yet, what are you going to do with it? As Imam Al-Ghazali says, what is ilm when it's not used? What good is the swordsman who has mastered the sword? He has 7 swords on his body, but he doesn't use it when the lion shows up. What good is all that mastery of the sword if you're not going to use it? So what good is the knowledge that Allah has given us if we're not going to use it? But also understand this, at this particular point in time, you can't claim ignorance anymore. Because now you know. Or you're on the path to knowing. And so on that day of judgment, you can't just stand there and say, well, Allah, I didn't know. Well, hold on a second. Didn't you go to that retreat? Weren't you at the Muslim Center in Detroit? Didn't I hook that up for you? You were there, right? You did hear that from the book. You did hear these people say these things. You did hear. You received. So you cannot claim ignorance. Nor can I. So my thing to you is that please, as the Imam said, practice what you can. Do not try to do too much because that's a trick of shaitan. You try to do a lot, you end up doing nothing. Find what you can do and what you can do consistently, and inshallah, you'll wind up doing a lot. You'll be able to do everything. So I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses you. I ask that He find favor with you, that He elevates you in this life and in the hereafter. I ask and pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings you closer to Him and allow you to be within His presence at all times, that He increases you in love for Him, that He allows you to spend your time in contemplation and reflection, even if it's just 5 minutes a day. May He bless you to be a person of reflection, of tadabbur. That Allah blesses you to be a person that is unveiled, that you are able to see the reality of this life, and that you'll be able to see Him, al-haq, for He is the only reality. That He blesses you to be increased in your love for Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and that you will have added much of His characteristics and much of His way of life into your own, to the point where it becomes part of you, and you are also a part of the prophetic tradition. May Allah bless you with a beautiful ending. May Allah bless you with bliss in your grave. May Allah bless you with good company. May Allah bless you with nur, and may your room in the grave be as wide as this musalla, if not bigger. May Allah bless you with the best of resurrections and the best of forms. May He allow you to walk within the shade of His throne. May He bless you to meet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, at the watering place, and that we will all be able to drink from His beautiful hand, that we will never thirst again. May we hear Allah say, Enter jannati min rahmati. Enter my paradise from my mercy. And that we'll be able to pray in Sufuf al-Awwal, right behind the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that Allah will have opened up all the gates of Jannah to us, that we can choose whichever gate we wish to walk through. And that Allah blesses us with a beautiful, beautiful surroundings within Jannah. That the homes that we have worked towards building because of our obedience to Allah, our dhikr of Allah, our adherence to Allah's law, that we have beautiful castles. And I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows each and every one of us to regroup in Jannah and talk about and remember and reflect on the time that we spent here in Detroit at the Muslim Center, talking about how we were going to change our ways, how we were going to remove the stains that plague our hearts, how we were going to cleanse our souls, and how we were going to control our egos, and how we were going to remember Allah. And we were turning a new leaf in our life and becoming different and better servants to Allah. May Allah bless all of us to be there, be able to say, I'm going to go spend some time with Musa alayhi salam, or Isa alayhi salam, or Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that we are able to move around with the Anbiya and the Saleem. May Allah bless us. And as I said to the brother outside a moment ago, if you don't see me, remember your brother. Ask Allah to pull me out of the hellfire that I may be able to join you. May Allah bless you. May Allah guide you. May Allah strengthen you. Ya Arhamar Rahimeen, Ya Arhamar Rahimeen, walhamdulillah rabbil alamin.
وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى. First of all, we want to thank the Imams and the pioneers and the administration at the Muslim Center for welcoming us, as they always do, alhamdulillah, on a wing and a prayer, alhamdulillah. And may Allah reward their generosity. And the brothers who visited from Atlanta, they said it feels very open, this facility. And I said, when we meet, such and such of the elders, you'll see why, because they open their hearts prior to opening their masjid. And that's something that, even if Imam Khalil said that he didn't find a lot of words, that speaks volumes about how we should be if we hope to transmit the message of the Prophet Muhammad. So I'm grateful, and please convey this to the other Imams. Inshallah, we will as well when we see them, and the administration, those who maintain the masjid, and the pioneers, and those who frequent. Thank you for welcoming us, and thanks especially to our brothers, Sheikh Jamal, and those who traveled with him for traveling all of this distance to visit us. And inshallah, we all will return the visit, and there should be tizawur, right? That was one of the qualities of those who were shaded on Yawm al-Qiyamah, those who love one another for Allah's sake, those who visit one another for Allah's sake, and sit with one another for Allah's sake, and spin. We ask Allah that this gathering be included in those meanings, and from that is that we should pay them visits as well. And then thanks to you all for taking out the time, in postmodern America, you know what I'm saying? Taking out all day. Some of you have been here all day to worship Allah, and that's something we should realize is a great thing. Not we're great, but that's a great gift that Allah gave us. And thank you all for lending us an ear, and as our Sheikh mentioned, making open to us and the knowledge that we have to disseminate, which is like sprinkling seeds. You opened your hearts to receive that, so we're grateful for you having done so. And then as Imam Khalil mentioned, and Sheikh Jamal, take something that you heard from this great Imam, from the verses of Allah's book that he recited, and the sayings of the Prophet ﷺ that he transmitted, take some of that specifically spoke to you and act on it, right? And from knowledge is light, and what one has an aptitude for and is, you could say, one is predisposed to or has a receptiveness to, that will reach you, right? So take that and act on it. And the poet says, فَعْمَلْ وَلَوْ بِالْعُشْرِ كَالزَّكَاةِ تَخْرُجْ بِنُورِ الْعِلْمِ مِنْ ظُلْمَاتِ. That act even on a tenth of your learning, just like in zakat, and it's a tenth on crops that are not irrigated. And by the light of knowledge, you will depart from the various types of darkness, right? So take some knowledge and apply it, and various types of good are interconnected, right? So someone might come through a door of, for instance, prayer. Another one might come through a door of knowledge about Allah's attributes. Someone else might enter through a door of tawbah, but once they've entered through that door, that opens up to an increased nearness to Allah and other acts of obedience, right? And they'll be naturally disposed to one or another of the various works the Prophet ﷺ brought. But take that and take that as your personal lifeline and apply and enter the door that Allah has opened for you, and you'll find in that immense good. And then, as was mentioned last night, and Sheikh Jamal concluded with that point of, we have to remember that we have a responsibility to transmit to others, right? And Sheikh Imam Khalil alluded to that as well. And Imam Al-Ghazali, in his revival, he transmits the saying of Isa alayhi salam, "Man alima wa amila wa allama fadhalika yud'a aziman fi malakut as-samawat." If someone learns and practices, meaning they learn and they acted on what they learned, and then teaches, that person is proclaimed as great in the unseen kingdom of the heavens. Right? So those are three independent obligations. Allah has granted us to attend lessons, and hopefully we learned. That's an obligation, and we should be grateful for Allah for allowing us to fulfill it. An additional obligation is that we act on those obligations that we learn. Right? So we should apply, as was mentioned, even some. But an additional and independent obligation is also to transmit that to others. And from the easiest and best of those to whom we transmit it to are the members of our households, like the children, for instance, that are under our charge. That merely by demonstrating it and explaining with just some kind words, they're very eager to learn from us and be pleased, or for us to be pleased with them by them performing that. But others that you can share with, see that as a responsibility. And may Allah reward you all for coming. But we're going to say that, as Sheikh Jamal mentioned, we're going to be asked about this. Right? We, some of our volunteers, Allah reward you and forgive us for maybe overworking you. But everybody needs to see themselves as a volunteer for the message of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. Right? It can't just be done, you can't just say, oh, well, Imam Khalil, mashallah, he's always here taking care of business. Abu Bakr is always up here cleaning. Imam Siddiq's always on sutra. All of us have to see ourselves as responsible. Outside of these doors, there's a nation of people. Some of them, I guarantee you, there's people in their teens and 20s who've never heard the name Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I guarantee you, because I was like that, and I've met people who were like that. And as soon as I learned about this man sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that was just the beginning of this whole journey. I know people, they heard someone visited their junior college or visited their high school. The first time they heard about Islam, they said, I'm going to embrace it. And how many of there are those who have not heard that? So all of us have this responsibility. And really, we visited Sheikh Hussein Abdul-Sattar in Chicago. I was very impressed to visit him with his silence and his khushu'. And we said, we've recently come back from our studies and we have work to do. And he said, welcome. I see it as we're pushing against a mountain, so the more hands, the better. Right? The more hands, the better. All of us have to see ourselves as responsible to work. And our shuyukh would always advise, when students would come to these intensives or be departing after a period of study, make intentions. Right? In addition to what you've learned, in addition to your intention to act yourself, make intentions now, right now. Make intentions of what you're going to do after what you've learned and the reminders you've had of things that you already knew. We hope from Allah that Allah sees in our hearts intentions that are pleasing to Him subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us to be pleasing to Him. And they say that your intention is your vehicle, meaning your intention itself will carry you places. And Junaid, he said, if someone opens for him or herself a door to a pious intention, Allah will open for them 70 doors of tawfiq. Right? 70 doors of being given the ability to obey. So make intentions. Think about between you and Allah sees your and my hearts in this instant, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to open for us the door of acceptance, that Allah accepts everything that was transmitted and forgive us for our shortcomings in that, and that He accepts it from the best of what He's given us in khair and lutf and afiyah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He accept for all of us to renew our repentance to Him. We ask You, O Allah, to forgive us for all of our sins, those that we know and those that we know not, and those that You know better than us. And we ask You, O Allah, to turn our evil deeds into good deeds by Your mercy, O most merciful of the merciful. Ya Arhamar Rahimin, Ya Arhamar Rahimin, Ya Arhamar Rahimin. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward the Imams of the Muslim Center and those who maintain it and those who frequent it, and reward Sheikh Jamal and our brother Saleem and Atiba for visiting us, and reward all of you who attended, and Allah accept all of us. And just as Sheikh Jamal mentioned, we ask You, O Allah, that You show us these faces again in Jannah, in khair and lutf and afiyah. Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa alihi wa sallam, walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen, and Fatiha. We want to try something new for our intensives here in Detroit. Those of you who have visited Dar Mustafa, Sheikh Jamal and maybe a couple others, and those of you that have visited Maqasid retreats, our sheikhs will do like a group handshake where each person goes by and shakes the hands of those who preceded until it forms a chain. And some of the sisters have done so as well. So we just want to shake everybody's hand and bid everyone farewell. And after Asr is actually one of the blessed times to shake hands after prayer. And in some athar it comes that after Fajr and after Asr, the angels attend the congregation and they also shake hands with those who shake hands. So we'll just, the three of us just stand in front and the brothers know how to come